Welcome, everyone. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Most of you know me by Pajama Grandma, and I don't have my pajamas on. Well, I have my pajamas on, but not my robe because I was doing yoga with my daughter because I messed up the time of our awesome interview with Joy. So I'll fess up when I screw stuff up right off the bat because I'm going to have to cancel the one that's scheduled for tonight at 7 p.m. I forgot that London's got a few hours difference from Wisconsin. So welcome, Joy. We are so excited to have you here. I think that you're going to share things that the people that I'm interacting with on a daily basis have never been exposed to before, some modalities and some things that are really exciting that we just haven't had the chance to experience. Now, okay. I'm excited, and I think everybody else will be too. So if you could just tell us a little bit about your background and what got you interested in the work that you do now, and I guess sort of your origin story, what got you interested in being a healer?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me onto the show, by the way. It's lovely to be here. My background story is that I come from a background of trauma and abuse. And starting from even in the womb, what do you call it? Trauma in the womb. What's that? Birth trauma. Which is what happened there was that when I was just about to be born, my mother was very stressed out because my father was an alcoholic, and he turned up midway through the process. My grandmother was very angry, and she hit him over the head with a frying pan. Sounds very funny now, but it wasn't at the time.
Right.
And she knocked him out, and she thought she'd killed him. And the shock of that, when my mother was shocked, and the shock went into me as a baby. And I just felt myself as if I was completely disintegrated. And then by some, miracle, I was brought back together again before I was actually, brought out into the world. So that, for me, was the beginning of my life. And the trauma seemed to follow me through. It became like a pattern that I was threatened with my life on several occasions. So, first of all, the abuse when I was a child, but also when I was about 14, I was raped and threatened with being killed. I managed to escape with my life, which was, really good. And then later on, I met a man who I married. And after a few years of marriage, I had to run away because he tried to kill me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, it seemed like there was this pattern in my life where I was being threatened with my life. And then I, later on in life, I had a few experiences of near-death things happening to me. But one of the ones that happened later on was I contracted cancer, and it was a later stage. They didn't discover it until a later stage, so there was a possibility that I might die. And I had to have surgery very quickly. And this was just after I had my first son, well, my only son, because obviously after he was born, I think about 3 months after, they discovered I had the cancer. And I had a hysterectomy and, couldn't have any more children. But praise be to God, I had him. So at least I had a son. So, there've been several times in my life when I've been faced with life-threatening situations. And that is my background, which made me start to search for what is this? What is going on here? Am I attracting it? I started to get different. Well, I had the cancer, but I was also having backache, which I had for about 20 years, and back pain. And after the hysterectomy, I was suffering a lot from abdominal pain, which it was being investigated, but they could never find out what was causing it. So I suffered a lot of pain there. And then I went into the chronic fatigue. And it seemed like the chronic fatigue was a message to me that my body was saying, you are not going anywhere until you get this sorted. And one of the reasons I was understanding that was that all the things that were happening to me, I hadn't been addressing them. I'd been pushing them down into my body, not talking to anyone. I didn't tell my mum about the rape when I was young. I told her when I was in my 20s. just nonchalantly, and she didn't seem to want to know any more about it. So it didn't get addressed.
Right.
And all of these things. My first husband, nobody wanted to believe that he was capable of that. So I felt completely unsupported, and I couldn't speak to anyone about it. At that time also, it wasn't a thing to go and get therapy. It wasn't kind of available in those days. You just had to just get on with things by yourself. So I reached this place where I was depressed. I was crying every day. I was suffering from chronic fatigue, so I wasn't able to do anything really. If I wanted to move from the front room to the kitchen, I had to go on all fours. I couldn't actually stand up and walk between rooms. It was that bad. And it was depressing because I had a young son and I couldn't interact with him the way I wanted to, because he was only, maybe... I had chronic fatigue for about 6 years. So it was from when he was about 4 until he was about 10.
Wow.
So the years that I would have really liked to have enjoyed but couldn't. So I came across this method, and there was a workshop being held in this method, and I decided I need to go and try this. This is my last ditch effort. If this doesn't work, I'm just going to crawl into a corner and become catatonic and not do anything anymore. I've given up now. But this is my last attempt that I want to try. Because I tried lots of things. I did start some therapy. That helps a little bit. I was trying different, like nutrition and, different kinds of things that I'd come across. All of which sometimes relieved symptoms, but didn't really have any major impact. So I went along to this weekend seminar workshop thing. And what happened in this was the method that they used was an inner journey process. So it was a guided interactive meditation where you went inside and you accessed your traumatic memories, or at least one of them, if not more, and you emptied them. You came to terms with them. The idea behind this is that when we repress our memories, we push them into our cells, and then if they get pushed into the cells often enough, they cause a blockage in the system, and this is what creates illness or disease or agitation or depression or whatever. And so the idea is to get into the cells and release those memories and interrupt the passing on of those memories to the next generation of cells, because normally when cells die, they pass on their memory to the next generation of cells. So if you can get in there and interrupt that, remove that memory or remove the trauma from it and put in some new resources instead, then given a choice between a lower vibrational and a higher vibrational resource, the cell will go for the higher vibrational resource and pass that on instead of the lower vibrational traumatic memory. So this is what I did. I actually went into this inner journey and accessed the memory of the rape when I was about 14. And I got to say everything that I hadn't had chance to say at that time, both to the rapist in my imagination, and to my mum and to my dad and to anyone else who was involved, and explored all the aspects of it, how I felt, disgusted and victimized and helpless and all of these things. I just emptied out completely until I was so completely empty that I was just ready to forgive and move on and let go. So having emptied all of those, I then put in some new resources for myself, like understanding the bigger picture, or recognizing that even if you've been defiled on the outside, it doesn't affect your purity, your truth.
Storming here, and you have frozen, Joy.
Oh.
Joy, come back. You're not in the middle of the story. Can you hear me? Yeah. I know you're there, but you keep freezing. I think it might be my internet. Let's hope not.
I can
keep talking. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
There I am.
I don't know if you can hear me, but you've gone missing.
I can hear you. I'm back. There's just a delay. There's a little bit of a delay, and we're having thunderstorms here in Wisconsin, which is where my internet is, which is iffy at best because I live out in the country, and so we don't have awesome internet here. So going in, we'll have some glitches. Right. We'll just have glitches. That's okay.
Where did we?
We were at the weekend retreat and the training.
Yeah. and emptied all of the
You
trauma.
didn't freeze again. Yes. Yes, you
Emptied
did.
everything I needed
Come
to
on,
say.
internet. Seriously?
Okay.
Joy.
Hello, I'm here.
Joy.
I'm here.
Come on. I've got internet signal.
I'm here.
Hey, Jessica, by the way, if you're still there.
I'm here. Can you see me yet?
Joy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Joy, we're at the beginning of the story.
Hello, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Huh. All right, well, this is what happens with technology sometimes. Sometimes we're at the highlight of an awesome story and we get cut off. Super frustrating, but it is just the limitations of technology. I want to stay on for a few minutes and see if we can get her back because we've still got her face and everything linked up. It's just not coming through. Got a chat. Oh, I can hear you, but I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Joy, let me see if I can figure out how to chat. I wonder how we get you back.
I don't know.
I'm texting Joy. Okay, universe, we could use a little help here. According to Catherine Joy, they can see and hear you, just I can't.
Oh.
So you're loud and clear. So go ahead and keep talking, I think. I could be wrong.
We'll try it that way around as well then. Okay, so I'm not quite sure where you got up to listening to my story. Thank you, Catherine, that I can continue. Thank you. I'll just say that, you know, had this process where I was able to release
That's just weird.
All of the feelings.
So Joy can hear me. I can't hear her. You guys can see and hear her, but I can't see and hear her. That's going to make for an interesting interview, right? So why don't you guys type in questions and Joy will answer them, and I'll just look at the screen and see what's going on.
Okay, so I'll put in the chat that.
And Catherine says she can hear both of us and see both of us just fine. Nice. So I have no idea what to do with this. Joy, I guess you can keep talking and I'll be quiet.
Yeah, okay. So I managed to release that trauma. I
don't know why just your screen's frozen up for me. Maybe if I hit show.
Emptied out. And I
just shows your name.
To the point that I didn't need to say anymore.
So we know who we are.
I was able to reach forgiveness. And
I don't know why you're frozen up on my screen, Joy.
That I was talking about. The new resources of understanding the bigger picture.
And I don't have my magnifying glass out to read the comment.
Knowing that I am pure.
Okay, so Joy, they can hear you. So go ahead and keep talking and share your story. And I'll have to listen to the recording so that I can hear you too. Definitely the strangest Facebook Live I've ever done.
So, and understanding the bigger picture and being in my strength and my power. And what happened in that process and throughout that weekend, because we were going into a lot of meditation and deep understanding of ourselves and awareness practices, I came out of that weekend absolutely, completely, miraculously cured of chronic fatigue. I came out of there dancing. I went in there on a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. I came out dancing and singing. My depression was gone. I found a sense of peace inside of me that has never left me since. It was absolutely amazing. My son was 10 years old by then, and he saw me coming out and dancing and chatting and laughing. And he said, "Oh, I like the new mummy." And those are such precious words to me, such precious words. And I was so amazed by this technique, I'm so amazed by this weekend, that I decided to become accredited in it myself, so that I could share this process with the world and share the miracles that it can bring. So I became an inner journey practitioner. And I started to spread this message to everyone, and started to take clients and also experience miracles in the clients that came to me. Absolutely amazing transformations that they've had. And I love this work. And I've never had chronic fatigue come back since. And this was, my son is now 29. So this is 19 years of being free of chronic fatigue. Also, the backache disappeared, which I'd had for 20 years. All the tears stopped. Yes, I had some things that I still needed to process. But this method is really good for processing any of the traumatic memories that you may have in your life. So, of course, I had more than one traumatic memory. I needed to process what happened to me with regard to the cancer, and I needed to process what happened to me at birth, and what happened to me, in my first marriage when my first husband tried to kill me. All of those things, the things about support, the things about being a victim, the things about poverty. I was brought up in poverty. All of these kind of things, one by one, I was processing them in myself until I could be completely clear. And being in that nice, clear space, that's when I could actually see the souls of everyone that I interact with, and invite them to be in touch with their beauty and their magnificence and their health, so that we can clear away the blockages that are blocking that energy flow in the body, that we can, together we can dance with your wisdom, the wisdom of the people I'm working with. It's not that I'm fixing them, I'm just helping them to connect to their own wisdom, so that they can heal themselves and open to a life of peace and joy and happiness. So this is my chronic fatigue story. I had backache for 20 years. I was crying constantly for almost 7 years, nearly every day. So I was depressed, and chronic fatigue for about 6 years. All of that is gone. It's all gone. And I live, mostly, obviously we're human and we have our ups and downs. But, when everything, whenever anything comes up for me, when you get triggered by something, for example, I hardly get triggered now, but when I do, then I can nip it in the bud right at the beginning. So, and I can show other people how to do that you don't need to get pulled into, being this victim, and pulled into the heaviness, pulled into the woe is me, and pulled into the frustration of not being able to move forward or fix anything, or, any of this kind of thing. I'm on a spiritual path. I'm deepening in my surrender to love. And I teach people how to surrender to love, and how to be on that spiritual path of opening to the truth of their being, beyond their ego, beyond their identity, beyond their pain body, beyond their just living from the mind, opening to living from the heart. So this is what I do, and this is my passion. This is what my experience in life has led me to. And I don't know what else to say now, because I don't know what Sharon's going to say. I'm going to ask if she wants to ask any questions, because I can hear her. So I'll tell her I've finished my story. And then I'll say, do you have any questions? Or does anyone else have any questions? If you've got any questions, maybe, I don't know if I can see them. Hopefully I can. Let's see if I can see the comments. There's live comments, but this team chat box is kind of blocking it. Let's see if, no, wait a minute, let me see. Catherine's saying, wow. Yeah, I've continued. Yeah. I'm loud and clear. You're saying I'm loud? I am sometimes. I'm a bit like a tiger now. I've got so much energy, you wouldn't believe that I have ever had something like chronic fatigue before. I'm like a human dynamo. So this is truly, a transformation for me. And and the reason why I believe that other people can transform. And I've watched people transform. I've had miracles happen, in the people that I work with. And I work remotely as well sometimes, like a remote healing. I work online with people. We work like in a Zoom session together. I have clients from all over the world. And I'm just continue with this work. It's just amazing. If you want to know more about me, then you'll find me. My name is Joy Idries, Idries, and I have a free group called Truly Transformational. So if you just Google that, or I don't know if Sharon has put it in the comments or not, but you can always just Google Truly Transformational, and you'll find the group you can apply to join. And I share a lot of stuff there. I do a lot of FB lives and teach some tips, on all about developing awareness and meditating in a dynamic way, not in a vegetative state or anything, but actually exploring yourself inwardly and learning all these tips and processes and techniques to kind of let go of stuff that's getting in the way of you living your joyful life. Really, it's possible. And then I always share lots of tips for that as well. And I've got a group, a mastermind group as well. You're welcome to join that, where we do regular group calls and work on stuff that comes up together. So, does anyone have anything to say? Because if not, maybe I've finished here. Because I don't know what Sharon would like me to talk about. Apart from that, because I came here just to talk about my story, and I've shared it. Has anyone got any comments? I'm going to tell Sharon that I've finished. Oops.
That's the weirdest thing that's ever happened.
I've just sent a chat to...
Can you hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Is Joy still there talking?
She's not talking. She's there.
See, it's our internet because... Can you hear me and see me?
I'm just telling Sharon that I'm done, and does she have anything else to say? Or shall I go now? Shall I go or shall I stay?
Okay, I'm coming outside.
Shall I go or shall I stay?
Okay. Joy, I was going to go outside, but then I realized that I wouldn't be on that computer. Thank you so much. I have no idea what happened. My daughter's got you pulled up on the front raining porch. I still don't have you. I will admit this is the strangest Facebook Live I've ever done. Everybody for bearing with us, thank you. I'm going to listen to the replay, Joy, and contact you again, and we'll probably have you on again if you don't mind, because I really want to talk to you and ask you questions.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging with us, and have a fantastic day.
Mwah, mwah.
Yes, Joy, say goodbye to everyone. Wow.